There's this well-known conspiracy that alleges when Apple releases an update for their device, they intentionally make the old devices slower to trick people into upgrading. But I don't know anymore. At WWDC a few months ago, Apple claimed that their upcoming batch of updates will be faster and more efficient than ever. And this 7-year-old iPhone 11 is gonna get it. Let's see if we can put this conspiracy to rest. To give a bit of backstory, this conspiracy doesn't come from nowhere. I remember when iOS 7 came out and it slowed the iPhone 4 to a crawl, like iOS 9 did for the 4S too. Apple didn't help their case when it turned out a few years ago that they did in fact stall performance on older iPhones and not tell anyone, which led to fines and lawsuits. In that story, it was the case that Apple was trying to prolong the life of a phone with a worn-out battery, so they throttled it to prevent unexpected shutdowns. It's a reasonable thing to do, but tell us first. A lot has changed since then. Mobile phone hardware has become so good that it can run macOS, and so even an old iPhone has enough of a performance floor to still run modern software these days. So let's see. I've installed beta versions of Apple's OS's 27 on the oldest and slowest supporting devices that I can find. That means I updated this 6-year-old MacBook Air and this 4-year-old iPad 9th generation. Wait, there's something missing, something very important. Where is it? Oh yes, it's this video's sponsor, Paperlike. Thanks to their unique nanodots technology, Paperlike is a mainstay for artists, sketchers, and note-takers who want to experience the tactile resistance and sensory feedback of paper with the magic of the Apple Pencil on iPad. Oh, this feels so nice. I love having the Paperlike 3 screen protector on my iPad Air, but since I switched to this 9th gen, I gotta put it on. Don't be worried, because their Butterfly application system is designed to eliminate the 3 biggest causes of failed installs: dust bubbles, misalignment, and unclear instructions. Wow, look at that, it's so thin, only 0.95 millimeters to maintain precision while still protecting your iPad screen from everyday wear. If you've got an iPad, you'll definitely want to pick up a Paperlike 3 2-pack, which you should do with the links below. This iPad isn't that old, but it does share its A13 chip with the iPhone 11, which is. In fact, this is the first iPhone to support 8 versions of iOS, beating the iPhone 6S and 1st Gen SE. That's truly impressive, matching some iPads Pro and the trash can Mac Pro. The caveat to this impressive news is that this sort of support doesn't extend to the Apple Watch this year, as Apple dropped support for the update from the 4-year-old Series 8, making it one of the shortest supported devices in recent years. Worse still, those with a Series 9 will have little to get excited about. Still ridiculous. Back to these devices. For me, one of the things I'm most interested in is design. I've made what I think about liquid glass known, which you can watch here. It appears that Apple is backtracking on some of the dumbest parts of it, which is especially noticeable on Mac. For instance, the corner radii of Windows is more consistent, though I still think it's a little too wide. Sidebars are now integrated into the edge of Windows instead of floating on top, and the icons within them are colorful, though I do think that full-width toolbars are better. Oh, and the icons for every drop-down menu item are gone. Liquid glass is still here though. It's grown more defined. Buttons in light mode have the most delicate little icon in gloss, making them easier to spot. You can even adjust the transparency level too. I have it set on fully transparent. It's fun to see things warp as the volume bar pops in, for instance. But it's less fun to see complete, readable text behind a search and tab bar. Mercifully, I've also noticed that it stops doing that weird black to white transition when scrolling over dark content. But again, this silly focus on revealing content still persists in the whole focus and strategy of liquid glass. I was hoping for some revelations in icons and color and texture and clarity, but really as a whole, it just feels like the designers just upped the sharpness of filter a touch. I do think the design is a step forward, and so I appreciate it a lot. And I hope this demonstrates at least the direction we're going in is away from flat design. Just look at the chess icon. But let me show you just how much of a step forward it is. And then what about performance? The step is more like this. Apple made a big deal about how they refine their CPU scheduler to make old phones, like this one, much more responsive. In fact, on this WWDC splash screen listing platform improvements, 50 of them start with the words faster and smoother. So I borrowed my friend's iPhone 11 to compare. Things like app launches and AirDrop transfers do in fact happen faster, and as they said, the scrolling in the control gallery is much smoother. But in the tests of things that I could compare on the iPhone at least, not everything is faster, though I wouldn't call it slow either. Even on the public beta, I have been quite pleased with how well this phone performs. It's still quite smooth and zippy. A newer phone will be better still, sure, but only moderately. I cannot find any evidence that Apple is slowing down this iPhone to get you to upgrade. That unfortunately isn't the case with this 9th gen iPad from 2021. It really is struggling. Its 3 gigabytes of memory is simply not enough for what an iPad should do. It's so bad that I almost regret recommending this iPad a few years ago. I'm not even a demanding user, sticking to split view and not really using more than 2 apps at a time, and yet simultaneously watching a YouTube video and surfing in Safari can heat this chip up. It's clear they optimized all the performance improvements for the iPhone, but it's much harder to do with this. And it makes me a little mad that the much more powerful 2018 iPad Pro with more memory too will not be getting the update for some reason. Back to that conspiracy. It wasn't just that people saw their old phones getting slower that got people talking, it was also that their older devices wouldn't get the essential feature upgrades too. That's very much the case today. Siri AI is arguably the big headline feature for this year's update. After fumbling their vision, promise, and rollout of Apple Intelligence 2 years ago, Apple is taking another swing at it. But the only device in this setup that will support it is this M1 MacBook Air, which I should note still performs great, by the way. I've been pretty avoidant of LLM chatbots. Every time I use Google or the one time I used ChatGPT, I found myself very suspicious of the answers and therefore trying to go to the source, which is available in the most small and annoyingly designed button imaginable. Because Siri AI is so integrated into macOS, it is easier to use it more. And so far, it's been both nifty and silly. I'll give you an example. Jake messaged me about meeting up, and I asked Siri to set up a calendar event. When I told it to figure out what time, it correctly guessed the auction house he was going to and figured out the opening hours for it. That's really impressive. But it still made the appointment for that opening time, rather than banking time for him to stop by there first. That's some relatable ADHD time blindness right there. I appreciate that the simple expected spotlight behaviors still persist and load up quickly simply typing. It's when you hit enter that Siri AI gets used. I found that while it takes a while to load, it's a far better implementation of what they pitched as Apple Intelligence before. When Jake updated to the betas a few months ago, he did note that it took days to index his MacBook, though you can help that by updating your devices to macOS 26.6, which will do that ahead of iOS 27's release. And look, Siri AI was able to figure out what Apple Watch his girlfriend owns by surfacing a photo in their messages conversation. And it was even able to find his top artists and songs on Spotify from a screenshot saved in iCloud Photos. Now, unfortunately for me, a lot of my data is saved on a network-attached drive at home. At this point in time, there's no mechanism for Siri AI to index it, and so I'm not going to be able to get some of the same benefits that Jake is enjoying with his iCloud subscription. In my actual Apple setup, only my iPad and MacBook Air support Siri AI. I have not turned on Apple Intelligence on them, but I'm thinking I might just try this time around. Because Apple's business model remains selling physical products, they're not motivated to monetize my data, which is a major concern that has prevented me from being comfortable enough to use other LLMs. One thing we'll see though is if my 64GB iPad even has enough space for Siri AI. I think the best place for Siri AI is on the phone, as its voice interaction model works best when you're on the go. But because only the 3-year-old iPhone 15 Pro and newer support it, and with how long we can clearly keep our phones now, it's going to be a while before it trickles down into the rest of our literal hands. So, what do I think about these updates? I'm actually excited for them. I think for the iPhone, it is super easy to recommend to those who are still using an iPhone 11 or even 1st Gen SE. I'm frankly relieved that it means that my iPhone 12 mini has lots of life still left in it. You deserve a battery upgrade. I'm still using macOS 15 Sequoia on my MacBook Air, but I think I'm ready to upgrade now, skipping the horror show of Tahoe. I actually struggled to write this piece because there are so many tiny little refinements that Apple listed that don't really warrant mention. And yet I'm confident that as you use these devices with the update, you'll notice how things make a little more sense, are a little smoother, and are a little quicker. I think day to day with how people use their devices, that's what's most important. Thanks for watching this Thinking Different video. I am happy to say that Apple finally listened to me by doing a sort of snow leopard update with very little features and only refinements. I'm curious if you're gonna upgrade, and I just should let you know we have a Patreon, thanks to all of you who are already supporting.